Is going on, my friends? What is happening? Welcome to another great episode of the Arrington Gavin podcast. This is the show where we just we get to kick back, relax. We discuss trending stories and thought-provoking discussions in the realms of politics, sports, pop culture, and really all the above. This show is brought to you by Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Rugged is the new smooth. Hey, look, and also we bring on new episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via podcast. So if you are a Spotify lover, Apple, Stitcher, iHeart, Odyssey, you name them, whatever you listen to your podcast, you can tune in to the Arrington Gavin podcast. All you have to do is just type in our Smooth Club Media. That is the network we're under. And you can listen to some great content shows from there. And also, if you prefer watching, the video version drops same days, but at a different time at 5 p.m. On our YouTube channel, our Smooth Club Media. Also, if you are a Rumble subscriber, you can just type in the Arrington Gavin podcast, our Smooth Club podcast on Facebook, as well as RSC Media on X, formerly known as Twitter. So those are the platforms you can tune in, y'all. Look, I am so excited because on this show, I have the privilege of having my dear friend, Miss Sebrina Brown. She's the founder and CEO of Girlfriend's Tea, which is an amazing brand. Not only is it a brand with some amazing lines of, gourmet tea, but it's also, she has a conference that focuses really on woman empowerment, entrepreneurship, all the above. And she has a very successful talk show called Girlfriend's Tea with Sebrina, which I'm honored. I've been a guest. My wife and I have been a guest on before. And I tune in. I heavily tune into Girlfriend's Tea. Okay. I make sure I have my tea with me. Okay. Don't look at me like that, fellas. Don't you look at me, because I know you're watching. Y'all probably like, Arrington, what you got? Yes. Okay. There's nothing wrong with enjoying a cup of tea, and watching Girlfriend's Tea with Sebrina, because it's great conversations. It's fun. You learn. It's fun, refreshing, and informative. And that's the content that I believe we all should always tune in and have on our lineup of content that we watch. But before I bring her on, I like a good dad joke here and there. Now I'm not a parent. I have a dog. My wife and I, we're dog parents, but I've always loved dad jokes, right? So I got one for you today. All right, let's see. Did you hear about the original teacher who quit? No. Too much paperwork. Get it? Yeah, y'all looking at me like that is corny. Well, it's a dad joke. It's not supposed to be like really good, but I thought it was funny. All right. Forget y'all. I thought it was good. But like I mentioned earlier, guys, here on this show, I have the privilege of bringing on amazing individuals from all walks of life, whether it's from entertainment, entrepreneurship, what else? Music, politics, you name it. I always enjoy bringing on individuals, and just to really have just a great conversation, because I consider myself a conversationalist. I learn amongst conversations, and on this show today, I'm excited to have my dear friend. Without further ado, I'm gonna bring on Miss Sebrina Brown. Miss Sebrina, how you doing, my friend?
Hello, my friend. I'm doing well. How are you? I love your background. You're doing the thing.
Look, I try. Look, we did not plan this, y'all, but as you see, we rocking the black. Very, very cool. Look at that. See, that's why she my friend.
I'm trying to hang with the younger generation.
Look, you young, Miss Sebrina. You young.
Thank you.
But look, I'm so excited to have you on. Like I've mentioned before, you are the founder and CEO of Girlfriend's Tea, which has been doing so well. I actually have. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I am gonna pull up just the homepage of your website, if you don't mind, so people
I don't mind at all.
So people can see the brand. Let me go ahead and bring this on real quick. Gonna give it a moment. There we go, y'all. You see that awesome website? Be sure to go to girlfriendstea.com right now while you listen to this, or just put it on your notes and check it out. You have some amazing stuff on there. Miss Sebrina, I want to first ask, Girlfriend's Tea, where did the idea come about for you?
Well, like most, we were born during COVID. So we're COVID babies, and we were born as a result of being on lockdown. I'm telling you, those were the days. I haven't seen my platform packed since then, because like that, because we had like 180 women. They were like, thank you for giving us a place to go, because, not only, we love the Lord, but everybody was concerned. It really was a heavy time. So we know through adversity, people will unite. And
Mm.
so we united over tea. I'm having my tea here with you now. We united over tea on a variety of topics. We encouraged one another. Although it was a very difficult time for this nation and the world,
Mhm.
we know that through adversity, people find out beautiful things about themselves. So that's
That's right.
how we were born.
And it's so awesome that you mentioned that, because I've always told people, like, during the pandemic, it was a blessing and a curse for a lot of people. The curse meaning,
Yes.
hey, if you were, the sad thing to be affected by the COVID in any form of capacity, whether if you had a business that was shut down, if you had the diagnosis yourself, it was a curse for a lot, but a blessing for a lot of people as well. For those who were aspiring business owners, right? They're like, okay, this is my moment where I have the time. Let me invest in myself. Let me stop hesitating. I'm like, okay, I can,
Mhm.
start my business now. Because there was a lot of people that either got furloughed or like myself, I actually moved into a much larger space during the pandemic. I'm like, oh, this is the perfect time. It's very low, low pace, is not packed. So this is the perfect time I can start, growing my business. But it's so awesome that you saw a need. You were like, okay, look, everybody's locked down, but we can still persevere through unity. And that's one thing what I love about you, Miss Sebrina, because networking, I feel as though, is like your biggest what I see you known for, because Miss Sabrina knows everybody. You have always been so supportive for my business,
Mhm.
and I'm being a viewer of your show, you always bring on your pom pom, and you're a cheerleader for all. When let's speak to our business owners out there, and those who are thinking about investing in themselves. How important is for you networking?
Oh my gosh. It's very important. And I'll say this, everyone, even when you're out, I just say the foundational scripture for girlfriends tea is that we show ourselves to be friendly. Because
Mm.
the Bible says that in Proverbs 18. If you want to be friends, you want to have friends, you must first show yourself to be friendly. So networking, you may not always be the one to approach people, but it's just about being approachable.
Mm.
It really is, because you don't have to be the initiator. Someone will come up to you, and even if they've got you wrong, they're like, okay, I thought I knew you. But you just show yourself to be friendly. And we know we don't always feel like being bothered or,
Mm-hmm.
interrupted. But, there's a way to do that as well, because you never know. I've
You
had
never
people
know.
approach me, Arrington, and I didn't think they knew me, but they do know me. And so
Mm.
it also helps us to be mindful, seriously, of how we conduct ourselves. I'm very, I don't see myself as girlfriends. See, I'll put it that way. When I'm walking, I'm just being Sebrina. But when
Mm.
somebody comes up to me in a crowd, I'm like, oh God, thank you. Because we are always representing our brand.
That's right.
Always. And it might not be it may be our family connections, it may be as parents of children, whatever you identify with that you value, you're always representing that.
It's so important that you mentioned that, because so I host a weekly radio show along with two good friends of mine, and on that show I had spoke about a situation, a story of when there was a question, or like a discussion brought up, as far as when you leave your, say, 9 to 5 job,
That's it.
do you still represent that 9 to 5 job when you step out of that office space? And some people are like saying, well, I need my freedom, I'm not owned by anybody. And I'm like, hold up, because regardless, you represent your family, right? You're a representation of your parents, just like you're a representation of your school that you graduated from. You're a representation of your business that you worked that 9 to 5, and especially being a business owner, because I think we both can say, Mr. Sabrina, we are the face of our brands. Without our
That's it.
voice, how there is no money being involved, because our voice matters. We have to continue to promote, and when it comes to any form of vending opportunities or any form of promotion, the first voice that they hear are our voices. So if we do something, in the streets acting crazy, or if I get into an argument, guess what? They're gonna be like, oh man, that's rugged, right? Oh, I don't know, because I don't like the way they. So representation is very, very important for those business owners and entrepreneurs that are listening to this conversation, that are watching it right now. It's extremely important, and I also agree when you said, about being approachable. Like, I consider myself a people person. I love people.
Yes.
My wife is more the introvert. I'm the extrovert. I love people. It can be a day where I don't feel good, but I still would love to have a conversation. It's very important to treat others with respect and be approachable. And I've never really heard someone say it like that. Like, I just make myself approachable because I'm a person that I get a little nervous to initiate the conversation, but if I know, I'm like, well, they seem like a great person, I can start the conversation, and that one conversation can expand to longer, a longer relationship and a working and networking relationship. So I love when you have brought that up.
Well, thank you. Yes, it's interesting that you even brought it up, really, because, and I was able to share that about representing 95. I have this friend of mine. Her name is Helen. I worked with her in the United States Postal Service. When I got hired, there were a group of us. I was 20 years old when I got hired with the U.S. Postal Service. When I retired, which was maybe 4 years ago, I was 56. And one of the questions she shared with us, now I'm 20 years old, and she said, you're representing the U.S. Postal Service. When you're off, I said the same thing. Those people, I said, oh no, I'm doing my, y'all got me from whatever, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. But she said, she was older. She still is. She's in her 80s now. But she said, Sebrina, you can't be out there doing, look, she did just like this, the funky chicken out at the parties and thank you. I said, but what she was saying was that it's true. Whatever we're connected to, we're an extension of that. That's why when something goes down, unfortunately, I say scandal or something goes down, the family, the person has to remember there are a lot of people attached to you. So if your brand goes down, all those associates, sometimes they want to bail ship. And I'm talking about big brands. I'm not a big brand, where I could impact someone. But that's what you have to consider. Consider yourself first. And if you don't care enough about yourself, consider those who are in business with you, those who are connected with you, because they've placed their trust in us based upon how we present ourselves.
I know. Well, look, I love to speak things in it. You're a big brand to me, Miss Sebrina. Girlfriend's Tea is a big brand. So I love to speak everything into existence because we always know our moment can happen at any time. I always say, that's the best part about, looking forward. We can never see what's happening forward. And I think my mom used a phrase, and I forgot which pastor had preached, but he had said, a car has you got a huge front shield on your vehicle, and your view mirrors are so small you can't worry about what's behind. You got to look what's forward. So you never know what's happening forward. So I just want to say you're a large brand. You're a mega brand in my opinion, Miss Sebrina. You mentioned about working for the U.S. Postal, which I have in my notes. You did for 35 years. And could you let the viewers know, your position with the U.S. Postal? Because I want to ask, did that happen to did that help with your current? Was that beneficial for what you're doing today?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking, because I will always bleed USPS Blue. I talk like I'm still working for them, to be quite honest. But I started out as a distribution clerk, key in the mail before we had automation. Every single mail piece was keyed by people until we got automation. So I became an automation supervisor, and I had opportunities to go even further, but I really didn't want to be dealing with the mail because of the odd hours. So I went for the 9 to 5 position, and there are very few 9 to 5 positions within the United States Postal Service unless you're at headquarters, because of the fact that we're processing mail. So we have all shifts. You're going to be either 6 to 2:30, 2:30 to 11, or 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. But I shared this in a recent article. There's a mentor of mine. She ended up, now we know we're cousins by way of, what's that? When you do your ancestry.com.
Ancestry.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
Laverne Wiggins Reed was my supervisor, and she was hard on me, but she was mentoring me. I didn't realize that then. I thought she didn't like me. She said, girl, I was mentoring you. So it was through her, because I loved her eloquence. She knew how to speak. She spoke well. I love the way she carried herself. So I joined International Training in Communication, formerly known as Toastmistress. So Toastmistress was there before Toastmasters. And I was a member for 10 years. And I tell everyone, although they do not believe me, every time I speak, I am nervous. I don't care
Mm.
if all I have to do is get up and give my name, unless it's a pajama party for girls or something like that. I'm nervous, but international training communication taught me poise. So,
Wow.
and that's what, and when I was facilitating a session for a young lady who wanted to learn how to speak, I said, I'm telling you, half of the battle is how you present. If you
Mm.
stand up looking like you know what you're about to say and you look confident, that's half the battle. It
Mm.
really is, because we have to recognize that we are the authority at that point. So people are listening to us. Now, if you haven't prepared and done your homework, you can't fake but so much.
Yeah.
I'm saying the nervousness, you know what you know, but just being confident. And so I've learned that. Sometimes I don't know what I'm going to say at all, and I'm nervous, but I get up there and I smile and I have that stance. It just
Mm.
becomes you. I have that stance, that Sebrina stance, my signature stance, and God would just move on my behalf. But it's because I do know what I'm talking about. You can't get up there and talk about what you don't know, because you really are
Mm.
not going to make it. Somebody's going to ask a question, several that you won't be able to answer, and then they'll know she doesn't know what she's doing. And
Wow.
that's why I never accept engagements where I'm not somewhat versed in that subject. I'm not going to do it.
That is so awesome, because I always talk a lot on this program to to our listeners and viewers that I'm still a student, because I myself am continuing to build a resume of the media personality of Arrington Gavin, not really the business owner, but the media, because it's something I am looking forward to pursuing and doing so right now. And like I myself, I get very nervous when it comes to public speaking. When it comes to a crowd of more than 5 people, all right, I'm a little nervous. It's always been a fear of mine that I'm continuing to overcome. And it's so interesting that you had said that, because it could be something where, yeah, the reason why I'm nervous is because I keep on telling myself in my head that I'm thinking of the worst, or I'm thinking of, well, they're not going, I might say something crazy or this. I need to start really building that confidence,
Mhm.
like after leaving the barbershop, getting a haircut. So it's something about leaving, or for you, like the salon, it's something about when you look sharp, and just that your whole mode changes. It's like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to take on the world. And what's so cool, because Mr. Sabrina, you've hosted many events in the Hampton Roads area, large events. I mean, you've emceed and you've done a great job. So just hearing you say that, I think is very inspiring, for an individual like myself, for people that are listening right now, because we all should take that in consideration and jot down notes. If you can't, you got to do your homework. You got to have that confidence. Once you're up there, you know what you're doing. That's half the battle right there. And that's very true, because I still get nervous to this day, but I have the opportunity to have some upcoming events where I get to kind of MC or co-MC. So I'm slowly but surely, building that confidence. But I think that's very cool, and very needed of what you had just mentioned there.
Well, I'm proud of you, Arrington. I want to say that I'm very
Uh,
proud of you. I mean, I was honored. When you would call, we would talk, and I would call you as well, and share pointers. And I also want to say, in the U.S. Postal Service is where I learned my love for public speaking by way of them. I was an
wow.
MC. I planned events for them, so it was an excellent training ground for me. I
Mm,
I can't thank the United States Postal Service enough. I oversaw maybe 400 offices, not so much as a district manager, but as
mhm.
far as training them on how to
Wow.
submit leads for the salespeople. So it was an awesome opportunity to get that training on. So I am experienced, but every single time, Tamika, she was a co-host of Girlfriends Tea. She's
Mhm.
now married, and she'll come back whenever I need her, and I thank God for that. But she'll tell you, the people behind the scenes are the one who know. She'll tell you every single time I was nervous, every single time. And I got the questions prepared, but every single time, because my goal is to not embarrass myself and nor embarrass my guests. That's my goal.
Wow. And what's so cool too, Mr. Brian. So I've always told individuals, because I think we have a good, at least for the younger crowd, because I think the new generation now is all about investing in themselves, starting a business, entrepreneurship. They're really not 9-to-5 people. And I actually have a good friend of mine who refuses to do a 9-to-5. Now, the reason why I'm still team 9-to-5, not just because, for example, if we have another pandemic, it's always great to have multiple streams of income, because if you keep yourself with one thing, if you lose that, now, okay, what's next? But I think people don't realize you can pick up so many great pointers from your 9-to-5. So like myself, when I was fresh out of college, I started working on my business plan as a sophomore in college. When I graduated, I worked like 3 to 4 months in part-time at Costco's. The grocery store. Let me say something. I hated that job, but I loved the people I worked with. It was the worst. It was my summer job. I was out in the heat pushing carts. I also assisted the cashiers while I'm still doing my business. So I'll do an appearance on Coast Live and then boom, finish my shift in Coast Live. But one thing, working in retail, and then I also did a couple years working in physical therapy, again working with people. The one thing that I've learned from both those jobs was, for one, building the confidence on talking with others. So then I'm like, okay, I brought that tool to my brand. And so if I'm at a vending show, I already have that confidence. I've already, if I can't know how to speak, with individual, and especially customer service is key. With bad customer service, your business is awful, because the first thing people will look at, I always say, is your presentation, and then how you take care of the consumer. The consumer always loves to be pampered. So if you lack that, you could have a great product, but if the customer service is bad, it only takes but a couple reviews and it will spread. And now you're starting back from ground zero. So I just wanted to say, people should always take a 9-to-5 for granted, because honestly, you can really pull away and learn some things. That 9-to-5 that you hate can help provide and help build up your dream, what you're doing.
You're exactly right, Arrington. And that 9-to-5 builds accountability, because when we're working, I will admit, when I'm on my own schedule, I'll do it when I get it. I get to it. I'm serious. It's like, hey, I'm the woman. So I do it when I get to it, and I end up running late and fussing myself out. But had I had a manager to fuss me out, to get me straight, to keep me in check, it builds discipline. It really does. It builds humility in working for someone else, because sometimes you're going to have to do things that you don't want to do.
Absolutely.
I mean, we don't want to be spoiled. We have to understand accountability, because under that accountability, we learn the accountability for our customers. And I like what you said about customer service. Recently we had Valentine's Day, and I had an order from a customer, and typically I get them out within 2 days. But this time, now that I'm doing the mugs again, they don't come from me. They come from my shipper. So it got close, and I realized, oh my gosh, it's been 4 days. I forgot about this. I bent over backwards. I gave her free product. I called her, and she was in Florida. Thankfully, it got there on Tuesday, but I apologize. You own it. I said, this is not typically me. She wasn't concerned. She just said, well, I thought I would get it by Tuesday. I made sure she got it by Tuesday. I called that manufacturer, upped her shipping, and then I sent her free items. So, sometimes people like, a problem is a good thing, because if you're going to do the right thing by the customer, they get extra. They get extra if you're going to do the right thing.
Absolutely. Well, Miss Sebrina, look, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but when we come back, we're going to talk all things Girlfriends Tea. I'm talking every department that you have going on with Girlfriends Tea, and also an upcoming conversation that you have airing this week. So I'm very excited. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. More here on the Arrington Gavin podcast. I'm your boy Arrington Gavin with the lovely Miss Sebrina Brown of Girlfriends Tea. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. Order our scented beard oils and beard balms to help you maintain and grow the perfect beard. Order today. Try our men's care products like the full body exfoliating cleansing bars, body wash, smooth stash, and more. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Rugged Evolution Beard Care. We're your luxury but affordable men's care line. And remember,
rugged is the new smooth.
All righty, ladies and gents, we are back here on the pod having a great conversation with the founder and CEO of Girlfriends Tea, Miss Sebrina Brown. So, Miss Sebrina, look, Girlfriends Tea, and I grabbed a quote from your site, which I thought was pretty cool, and it was a quote from Ben Franklin. See, I like Ben Franklin for other reasons because that's my favorite dollar bill right there. But, but you borrowed a quote from him, and it says, "Out of adversity comes opportunity." Why is that quote so important to you, and why did you felt like, hey, look, I got to put this on my site?
You know, I actually was thinking about COVID when I did that, but it really is true. When you're pushed, when you're back against the wall, you think of things that you would have never thought of. You really would, because you have to be creative at that point. For example, if you're low on inventory or whatever the case may be, you got to find out what else will work quickly to get your product out, or it could be anything. You would have never thought about that option or that product if adversity had not come your way. So it's about, like they say, making lemonade out of lemons. Life has to go on. You have to keep moving.
I know that's right. Well, I've already mentioned about the amazing tea that you have with Girlfriends Tea. Look, I don't have my tea with me. My tea right now is water. This is 2024. You know, I'm trying to do good.
Water is good.
Well, look, trying to. But you have your amazing line of teas, which my favorite. I always say the other bourbon. I'm an advocate for that. It's all of them are great, but I mean that's my go-to right there. But you also have a great conference. Now, can you talk more about your conference that you have?
Yes, I would have been doing it. I normally would do it in April. So I'm pausing. I'm pausing, reflecting. I know you're going to mention that, but I had a health issue and I decided to just lay back. You know, one of my mentors even spoke that to me. And I said, God, let me lay back and regroup. I am going to still do an event this year, but I won't be doing my April conference. But it's about allowing women to have the stage. Last year, we spoke about heart disease. Heart disease is the #1 killer of women. Wow. Heart disease. I mean, who would think that? But that's a fact. The #1 killer of women is heart disease. So we spoke about that. We spoke about child sexual abuse. I have an organization called Pass, Hurt, Dismantle. I was sexually abused as a child. And then we talked about diversity, equity, inclusion. And then we had a young lady speak about leadership. She was a millennial. She is a millennial. So we want to give that voice to various generations. It was awesome. It really was. And that's from the reviews. It was awesome. Wow. Excellent opportunity for the women. We built in time for the women to network. One of my pet peeves, not a major pet peeve, you go to the conference. If you don't get there early enough, if you don't get there 30 minutes before or whatever, you don't really get the chance to network. You're just at your table. So we built in that time for the women to network.
That's very important. Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because again, this is the show where we have fun, but we also like to inform people. It's always great to show 30 minutes early, regardless of any event. That's something that I've picked up more. I think really in 2023 was like, because I usually will show up like maybe 10 minutes early, 10 to 15 minutes, but something about being 30 minutes, whether if you're the first person there or the second, it is great because when an event occurs and when it's over, everybody's ready to go. It's really hard to have a long conversation with somebody and get the proper contact information. And it's long story short, y'all, show up 30 minutes early. Show up whether if you have a doctor's appointment, whether if you have an event you're going to. Hey, show up 30 minutes early. Put that in. Make sure y'all put that in the chat. But so with you mentioned about you had a health scare, and I definitely don't want to leave away from that, but you did have a health scare, and if you don't mind sharing that that health scare that you have that you had.
Yes, well, thankfully there's no evidence of it, so the doctors told me that I had a mini stroke. They call it a transient ischemic attack based upon my symptoms. So I was leaving the ocean front from an event, and both of my eyes, I can see it. I can see, I know what it looked like, but when I drew it, it didn't look right. But there was my vision, it wasn't blurred. Just think about veins. That's the best way I can describe it. There were some lines. And so it's amazing, even with animals. Animals don't know. When I say they're born, but when they have a baby, they know what to do. It's just innate. So God gives us likewise the same knowledge. I know nothing, very little about medicine and biology, but when I left and I saw my vision messed up, Honestly, I thought it was my eyelashes. I got on these eyelashes now. I pulled them off like, I'm serious. And people were cracking up. I'm like, it's glue. Something's wrong, God. Because I just kept blinking.
Yeah.
But what I did was I closed one eye and then the other. When I saw it in both eyes, I said, oh, it's your brain. It just messed me up. You know, I just started panicking then. My hands were shaking. I called 911. Nobody picked up. God help us. Nobody picked up. I called them twice, called friends. But thankfully, I got to the hospital. It had subsided. But after I told the doctors that it lasted for 13 minutes, they said you had a transient ischemic attack. We feel confident that you had it because of how long it lasted. And they were impressed that I had the wherewithal to time it, but I did time it because I had a stroke, you know, several years. But she's a living testimony of God's grace and healing. But I just didn't want to go out like that on the highway. I just kept driving. I was going to call 911, but I couldn't get through to them. And I just drove to the hospital.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you sharing your story because I wanted to bring that, you know, that up to Miss Sebrina, because as a entrepreneur, as someone that, you know, works for herself, I think we all tend to think forward and think so much about work. I know I myself, I fill my plate up sometimes more than I can handle, and it's hard to say no sometimes. And I think, you know, I'm trying to continue to learn where to say I can't say yes to everything. I can't do this all by myself. It does help having, you know, a village, and I'm not talking about a huge staff, but at least having some helping hands on the side when you know, whether if I have a event or anything. I just try not to do but so much. But I want people that are tuning into this to this episode to know when it comes in business, you do have to take the time to rest yourself, rest your body, because trust and believe, it's a very stressful thing becoming a business owner. And I think people get the word entrepreneurship confused because they're like, well, I'm an entrepreneur. That means I can sit back and relax and do, you know, make my own calls. But an entrepreneur, I will say this, an entrepreneur works, how can I put it? A 9-to-5 an entrepreneur is a hard life, but I would say this, sometimes an entrepreneur doesn't make as much as a 9-to-5. And on top of that too, I say that because the more you rest as an entrepreneur, that's you don't make money. So you really have to know how to manage your time wisely, but you also have to make the time to give yourself rest, because we work so hard so we can have a vacation, but then we realize, wait, I ain't had a vacation in about 20 something years. I haven't vacation in so long. And so it's very important that you do have to, you know, relax the mind. And I, you know, I think, and I brag about it, you know, the Black community has always been full of hustlers. We've worked tirelessly. Our ancestors worked tirelessly. We worked tirelessly. We know that's what we never worry about when a pandemic or when something happens. Oh, what? It's fine. We'll be all right. We already know because we kept moving. But we do have to realize that we have to take the time and, you know, give our body a rest, because like you mentioned before, you know, with women, heart disease is a known thing. I know for men, I know heart, you know, prostate cancer. There's so many illnesses that occur within our community. But I do appreciate you, Miss Sebrina, you know, sharing your testimony, because I do think people need to continue to hey, you know, go get a checkup, because you just don't know. I mean, now does this run in your family? Has this happened to a relative of yours before? Or
yes, my sister had a stroke, not a transient ischemic attack. But I want to share what you just said. It's important that we know our numbers. My cholesterol, my LDL, Dr. Newby is my, now I've
shout out to Dr. Newby, by the way.
That's
He's a
right.
very popular physician in Hampton Roads.
That's right. He keeps it real too.
That's right.
He gets on the Black community, but he was my mom's cardiologist. Now I do not have a heart issue, but stroke, you know, I go to him for advice. So my LDL, you remember, it's the bad LDL, was up. So that's the tie-in, what you said with entrepreneurs. We're running. I wasn't doing my exercise. I'm eating on the run, even though I mostly eat at home. So it reminded me of the basics that kept me healthy, because I never really had a problem with my numbers. So it reminded me to get back to drinking water. Water is the number 1 beverage. Tea is the number 2 beverage. I thought coffee would be number 2. Tea is the number 2 beverage in the world.
Wow.
Tea over coffee. Now that shocked me. And I only found as a result of being in the tea industry. But tea has great benefits. It really does. So I drink my tea now, and I'm going to be drinking green tea because it has antioxidants and flavonoids that are good for us. But know your numbers. Know your numbers. That's the bottom line. I'm going to the doctor every 3 months now. I mean, I have insurance. It pays for it. I told her, you're going to see me every 3 months because I'm staying on top of it. But I don't need to just go to the doctor. I need to be working out. That's what I need to be working out, eating right. So I went back to that, eating from my own table.
And that's what I'm talking about. Because I was going to ask, since that episode, what has changed as far as lifestyle, dieting, things like that. So that's extremely important. And it's funny because there's a comedian, his name is Earthquake, and he had a joke about how, when I knew I was covered with all this, good health care, I made sure I got everything in a Pap smear. I got everything. Okay. I said, he said, what kills me is the fact that, and he's just speaking for Black men. He's like, what gets me is that a man can talk about his car. It says, I got all the coverage, the bells and whistles, this and that and the other. And then he asks, well, what about that kidney? Oh, I'm going to take this up with Jesus. Now, it's not, hey, I'm a believer too, but you do have to take care of yourself. You have to do your annual checkups. Working out is essential, and it doesn't have to be an hour, y'all. Y'all can do 30 minutes, 20 minutes. I mean, you have to keep a regimen going on, because without, consistent movement of the body and the joints, trust and believe, you're not going to wake up healthy. I mean, you really have to take care of yourself. And it's extremely important. I mean, we live in a world with business owners and entrepreneurs, and guys, make sure y'all take the time to just, eat right, drink your tea, especially girlfriend's tea. Okay. Make sure you drink your tea. I'm an advocate of tea as well. I love tea more than I do love coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker, but I've always been a tea person. But I also want to transition, Miss Sebrina, your show, Girlfriend's Tea with Sebrina, the also popular. I mean, and I do mean popular. How many episodes, may I ask, have you done so far? Because I mean, now is Girlfriend Tea on do you do by season or episodes? How many years is your show?
Well, 3 years, but I had to slow down some because I was doing, most people do maybe one show a week. I was doing 100, I mean, I didn't take a break. Wow. I did not. So I took a long break after that TIA. I mean, I would do an occasional interview, but I'm going back to my weekly interviews, and I didn't give up. I just took a break. I don't know. I can't explain it. So I'm excited about coming back. When I say coming back full force again, but making sure, just like reruns on regular networks, they have their seasons where they're off. I need to take that as well.
So with your show, Girlfriend's Tea, because you start off the program with having mainly females from all different lines of the industry, very accomplished females. What is the mission of the show, and who has been your favorite guests, or who do you plan to interview in the future? Like, who are give me some highlights with Girlfriend's Tea.
Well, I dare not get in that trap of who's been my favorite guest, because see, this is the beautiful thing about Girlfriend's Tea. We make everyone feel like they're number one. So I can't say, I can say some of the people that we would know locally, the early ones I cannot deny. Toy Salter, she's out of Chicago. She's a financial planner. I'm saying it generically for NBA players. Glennis Albright, she has her own cooking products. She's the waffle queen. And she's the wife of Gerald Albright. And then, of course, the Honorable Stephanie Morales, Councilmember Sabrina Wooten, my own pastor, Lady Janine Macbeth, Dr. Don Bell. We had so many people from all walks of life. The purpose for this is for me. And they don't have to be, highly esteemed. I mean, I interview people who haven't even started their business yet. It's just however the Lord lays on my heart when I'm talking with someone, or if I'm looking for someone for a particular subject. One thing I will say, Arrington, I've learned, and you probably learned as well, whatever we want to know about and want to get it for free, interview them. I want to know. I'm just telling you, that's a secret, y'all. Interview them. You get it for free. I wanted to know something about trademark. And I saw this lady, she was big. She still is. Attorney Charmaine Robinson out of Chicago. She was on all the news. I forget. She was the first African American to open up her own business on, I don't know if it was South Side, East Side, but she was all over the place. I called her and I got that interview. I got what I needed to know. But she ended up being a client. I mean, I ended up being her client, and she ended up doing my trademark for me. But if you want to know something, seriously, interview someone.
You know what, and I definitely agree with you on that, because what I love about what I do right now, and even, you know, with, you know, being in radio, the guests that I have on, I've built relationships and close friendships. I mean, it's just I think sometimes people get, and again, this all comes back to being approachable. People are nervous when it comes to public figures. You know, when it comes to even our local officials, our state officials, people are nervous to talk. But then when you get to have a conversation, it's like, you're a regular person. So it's the fun part about being, you know, an interviewer, because like you said, you get to experience everything for free. That helps. That helps.
Yeah,
but you also build great relationships. I mean, you've mentioned, you know, the amazing guests that you have on, the lady who was the first African American female NFL official, who is continuing.
Yes, Maya Shaka.
I mean, that is. I mean, you look. I'm trying to win on the guests with bringing on guests from Miss Sebrina, because I look at her guests. I'm like, oh, Steph, she got. Oh, hold up, I gotta try and compete. I gotta see, are they available? I was like, oh, I'm busy. I'm going on girlfriend. See, I'm like, dang it, she beat me too. No, I'm messing with you. But no, that's really, really awesome. That is really awesome. And you know, you coming back with your show. You have a great show, because you have one airing later this evening on at 7 p.m. on your platforms. You have Sebrina Wooten, current city councilwoman out of Virginia Beach, who's actually running for mayor in Virginia Beach, and you also have Vice Mayor Lucas Burke out of the city of Portsmouth, who is also running for mayor. And I think I'm so excited for this show, because you have two very powerful African-American women that are doing great things in their community, that's running for a position that really hasn't been held by a female, a black female, if I'm not mistaken.
You're exactly right. That's what I was going to say, because I had to look it up. I knew for Councilman Wooten, but Lisa Lucasburg, Vice Mayor, the Honorable, she would be the first black female. There has been a female, but in Virginia Beach, Councilmember Wooten will be the first black, period. But she also made history. I want to let everyone know that Councilmember Wooten made history on November 3rd, 2020, when she was reelected as the first African American to serve a second term. So it may have gotten on there, but we couldn't serve a second term. Well, this is important. You know, it's important for us, because we know that God places us where he wants to strategically. And we know that when we're out of order, if we're submitted to him, he's still going to use us for his glory. We're like, oh God, hey, I messed up. I'm not supposed to be here, but use me. And he will honor that, because it's about humbling ourselves, you know, and we have to be humble servants when we're serving the public. So I'm looking forward to interviewing both of these awesome women and leaders within our community who have already had a tremendous amount of experience. I will make clear that I'm not political. I'm not savvy when it comes to politics. I'm interviewing them because I know them, but I'd have to do a lot more homework if I were to pick that up. I kind of don't want to. I'm surprised I'm doing it, but this is what the Lord laid on my heart, so I'm going to do it.
Oh no, and you know, and this is extremely important. So I consider this platform, you know, just a platform for all, like, people, whether if it's, you know, they're politicals, athletes, entertainers. I just bring them all. I am biased. I love politics. I'm a one that's always, you know, watching all the platforms. I've always said this is an unbiased platform. I've had people from all sides of the aisles, which again, I think is important for our young people to, you know, to learn more, because it's important to know what's happening in your backyard. It's important to know, okay, what is, you know, as a business owner, and just as a resident, it's important to know, okay, what are some of the new things happening in my city? What are some of the leaders that are trying to, you know, come our way and help lead our city? So I think it's extremely important. And I can't agree with you more. I was not, my initial thing with the show was to interview politicians. It's just, it happens. I literally have a person who, or I have people that will hit me up and be like, hey, look, I think you should interview this person. I think I'm like, oh my goodness. So and you know, it is election season right now here in 2024 on a local, state, and federal level. And as the interesting thing is, people nowadays are not really watching the news. They're not watching their cable news. They tune into podcasts. They tune into platforms like Girlfriends Tea, or like, you know, like the Arrington Gavin podcast. They tune into them. No, you know, of course, knowing that we're not experts, but I think they want to see the authenticity. They want to see the real individual, and I think that's what they're gonna get at a, you know, that interview when you interview Vice Mayor Lucasburg and Councilwoman Sebrina. I'm very excited. I know it's gonna be a great conversation, and I mean, it's just I'm excited. I'm excited, and to this is kind of like, you know, the comeback, you know, of the show. I mean, you killing it, Miss Sebrina. You killing it. You said I'm gonna come out with a bang. I mean, that is very powerful, and really, I think the message will continue to grow, because it's just you know, women are taking over. I mean, I'm a mama's boy. I feel like in my household they've always been, you know, top dog, but I do think, you know, this interview will be awesome. People, please tune in. How can people tune into this interview, Miss Sebrina?
Oh, thank you. You can look up Girlfriends Tea with Sebrina. We're on YouTube. Of course, you know, Arrington, we used to be on Roku. And that's where I had the millions of viewers, as you know. So I'm gonna be launching out on Spotify. I don't know why I put it off, but I'm going to do that. So they can see it on Girlfriends Tea with Sebrina, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram. Yay for StreamYard connecting to IG. Way to go, StreamYard. That we can stream live. And then my personal page, Sebrina Brown. You can find me.
Look, support, y'all. I'm telling you, this is going to be an interview that you do not want to miss. And also, please go to girlfriendstea.com, and, you know, get yourself some amazing tea. If you're local, I mean, please stay afloat and stay connected with Miss Sebrina. She has some great stuff happening, and tune into her show, Girlfriends Tea with Sebrina, where she sits down with the movers and shakers, not just in the Hampton Roads area, but obviously from abroad. I mean, she spoke about people in Chicago, and I mean, she's spoken with everybody. I'm trying to tell you, I've seen her speak with every heavy hitter, and I'm like, look at Miss Sebrina. She knows everybody. She knows everybody. But I'm just excited to again call you a friend, to call you a, you know, a huge supporter of Rugged, where we were a very small, you know, didn't have a huge platform. We were very, you know, young in the game, but you were extremely supportive and has always been supportive. So I truly thank you. And just thank you for taking up the time out your busy schedule to have a conversation with me here on the pod.
You know, I thank you. And I want to share that there's a strategy, Arrington, with that. I mean, it's not that I feel like I have to interview people who with notoriety, but we're trying to get our names out there. So I'm interviewing people who are searchable. When they search them, they'll find Girlfriends Tea.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Look, I'm pretty sure our entrepreneurs and business owners took plenty of good notes throughout this conversation. Miss Sebrina, don't go anywhere, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and put you on backstage. But once again, Miss Sebrina Brown, founder, CEO of Girlfriends Tea. Again, girlfriendstea.com. Girlfriendstea.com. I will make a post about this on our social media. And look, check out her show. It's happening today. Okay, it's happening today at 7 p.m. on her platforms, Girlfriends Tea on YouTube, Facebook, and as well as Sebrina Brown on Facebook as well. It's a great interview. I'm so excited. Again, she's going to be having Vice Mayor of the city of Portsmouth, Vice Mayor Lucas Burke, who's actually going to be running for mayor and has the opportunity of being the first African-American female to hold the mayoral position in the city of Portsmouth. And then she's also going to have current councilwoman out of Virginia Beach, Sebrina Wooten, who will she's also running for mayor. So it'll be a great conversation, y'all. So please tune in. And thank you so much for tuning into the Arrington Gavin podcast. I truly appreciate it. Tune in for new episodes. Make sure you tune in every Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, 10 a.m. You see it scrolling at the bottom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time via podcast. So wherever you listen to your podcast, be sure to go and watch or listen to the Arrington Gavin podcast. Now, if you want to watch the video version, you can go on YouTube at the letter R, and then Smooth Club Media. You can also go to Rumble and type in the Arrington Gavin podcast, and then also our Smooth Club podcast on Facebook, as well as Twitter. Well, X, formerly known as Twitter. We have some great shows happening and coming for you here in 2024. I'm so excited. I'll be speaking with some of the local candidates that are running here in the area. I'm going to have some people in music, in sports. I'm telling you, the best is yet to come here on the Arrington Gavin podcast. And do me a favor also, tune in every Sundays to my weekly radio show In Your City, hosted by yours truly. And I host that along with my good friends, comedian Ciroc Fox, hustle queen Miss Michelle Young, and I got to shout out my amazing producer, Mr. Cam Godley. Again, that show airs every Sundays at 12 p.m. WNSB Hot 91.1 FM, the soul of VA. Download the app. It's free, because if you're not in the Hampton Roads area and you can't find us on that radio dial, no worries. You can download the app. It is free. So until next time, my friends, I will be chopping with you all on Friday, but peace and blessings. I'm out.